Wrestling Inc. Happy Thursday. It is me, your managing editor, Nick Hausman, joined as I am here almost every Thursday. It's our good friend, Justin LaBar. Justin, welcome back to the WINCLY.
Good day.
Yes. What a good day it is here. It's still very cold in Chicago. I'm sure it's not much better where you're at over on the East Coast right now. It's all terrible.
Yep. Snow.
Well, I want to start off the show here today. We did have a passing in the pro wrestling community yesterday. We want to start by sending out our condolences to the friends and family of former TNA knockout Belladonna. So I wanted to get that out of the way at the top. But it is a big, fun week for pro wrestling here. The Royal Rumble's on Sunday. We've got TakeOver on Saturday. If you're going to be in Chicago, come by Duffy's Tavern and Grill. Doors open at 4 o'clock in Chicago, 420 West Diverse. You can hang out with me, some other wrestling fans. It's going to be a great Rumble party. How are you spending the Rumble, Justin? What are you going to be doing?
I will be here. I'll probably be at home is the plan. I'll be at home, tucked in, watching my Wrestle Rumble predictions to see how well I'm doing, to see if I can win $1,000.
Yeah, it's the Wrestle Rumble. We'll talk more about Wrestle Rumble at the end of the show. I can't make the announcement because I know the Two Face podcast guys are going to do it tomorrow on their show. So subscribe to Wrestling Inc. Audio. I know some of you are watching us live here on YouTube, but go over, subscribe to Wrestling Inc. Audio, get the full show on iTunes. You're going to get their podcast tomorrow, and they've got a big Royal Rumble announcement for themselves, for fans in the Houston area. It's going to be very cool. Definitely want you to be sure to listen to that show tomorrow for their announcement. But here today on the WINCLY, we got a lot going on. Interview with Impact Knockouts champion Taya Valkyrie. We got a clip here, a bit of audio from Wrestling Inc. Scott Fishman's interview with Ken Shamrock, where he discusses the idea of a potential WWE return. Our good friend Aki over in India had the chance to interview Drew McIntyre, so we're going to play a clip from that interview as well, where he discusses his relationship with Vince McMahon, WWE's UK scene, the rough road to the top, everything else. We also have the latest Views from the Turnbuckle edition. Me and Jesse Collins are going to be talking about WWE's localized, globalized strategy, and if NXT can take over the world. And last but not least, rounding up the show later, Justin and I are going to preview and predict briefly the Royal Rumble card for this Sunday. So jam-packed show, all that stuff, most of that stuff that I just mentioned, you're only going to get that if you subscribe to Wrestling Inc. Audio over on iTunes and get the full WINCLY show. But here it is, the live news recording portion of it, and big day for news. The Wrestling Observer newsletter went out early today, Thursday morning here, Chicago time. And the big news story leading off the Observer this week, Justin, Ronda Rousey is probably leaving WWE at WrestleMania or the pay-per-view after. Apparently the plan for Ronda is she wants to start a family with her husband. The deal was always expected to be short-term. She signed a one-year deal last WrestleMania. Here we are, a year later, this WrestleMania. It's possible, of course, that Vince could make some kind of crazy offer to her the week of WrestleMania, like he seems to do with Brock Lesnar, maybe keep her around a little bit more. The expectation is that she will face Becky and Charlotte, probably both of them, in the main event of WrestleMania. But we could also see maybe a Becky one-on-one match here at the pay-per-view after. Big story. I didn't even believe it when it first got shared on the Wrestling Inc. Slack this morning, and we got word of this. What's your take on this possibility, Justin?
Well, I don't think it's. I don't think if WrestleMania is the last time we see her for now, I don't think it marks the end of her WWE relationship. I do expect her to have kind of like a Brock Lesnar type of career moving forward. Like a Brock Lesnar, you don't want to oversaturate her. You don't want to. You don't want to. Even though they've already done it in some regards with some of the things, some of the promos, you don't want to humanize her too much. But I think giving her in certain doses. So I think if she puts over Charlotte and or Becky at WrestleMania, disappears for a little bit, she can come back at another point for another, run, however long it might be, and then face some new opponents that she didn't get to face in this run, notably Natalya, who they probably would have had her face if not for the passing of Jim the Anvil. So, I'm not too shocked by this, really. It makes sense if she wants to start a family. She's in her 30s, so do that. But I think it kind of makes sense to, even if she didn't want to go start a family, for if she is going to lose, if she is going to finally see her first loss and drop the title, because I do think that she's going to beat Sasha Banks Sunday, it kind of makes sense anyways for her to kind of disappear, kind of reset. I wouldn't want her to lose. That's to be pretty remarkable that they kept her undefeated for, a year, if she does lose at WrestleMania, it would make sense for her to just to kind of disappear for a little bit rather than just continuing on. That's just how I look at how, looking at her as a little bit of a novelty. I think family or no family, it kind of makes sense to pull her away a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm very much of the attitude that Vince could probably do what is described here, a la Brock Lesnar, make her some crazy deal, keep her around. I mean, it's different, right? Like Brock doesn't need to take 9 months off if he gets his wife pregnant, right? There are certain factors here in play if she wants to go off and start a family that would keep her away for longer periods at a time. But I kind of I have two minds of it. First, like we're gonna get to, I guess we get to the story here first. Raw saw its largest first or third hour drop in like the history of the show this past Monday night, and it was main evented by Ronda Rousey and Natalya in a tag match versus Sasha and Bayley. I don't know. I know Ronda's stuff does really well on YouTube and things, but Becky is, in my opinion, the far more interesting wrestling female character right now. I see the value in Ronda Rousey, but it's not on like the same level as like a Brock Lesnar, at least right now to me. It just doesn't. I don't want to poo-poo Ronda's ability to make money for people because I know she can, but it's just I don't know. I don't see as much attraction there. Maybe they did oversaturate her by doing too much with her a year.
Well, I don't think she has the same drawing power as Brock Lesnar. I do think Brock Lesnar has more drawing power. I think really, again, it goes back to once WrestleMania has come and gone, and if all of our assumptions are correct and what we're going to get, and if she does main event, if it is the last match even of WrestleMania possibly, then WWE got out of her what they wanted. They got the association with her. She helped empower the women's division, which is obviously a top priority.
Yeah.
Got her for however many pay-per-views and Raw appearances she's done, and I'm sure it helped the gate and whatever. So I mean, they got out of her what. So again, again, whether she wanted to have a family or not, I think the decision should be if she loses and drops the title at WrestleMania again, just let her disappear. She can go do the family thing, and then maybe she comes back after Mania of next year, and she comes back and does a little run. I mean, that would just make the most sense with her. I wouldn't see a need to, after she drops the title, then to like, what does she do then? After she drops the title, I mean, okay, what? Maybe one rematch, and we're trying to get away from the antiquated, automatic rematch clause thing. Maybe one rematch to try to get vengeance. If she loses there, then what? I mean, is she gonna be involved in hotel scandal storylines like Naomi and Mandy Rose? You know what I mean? It's like, so if she's not fighting for the title, she's not holding the title, she might as well be away.
I'm all for, some people really hate whatever you want to call part-timers and things like that. I think if used appropriately, and especially with somebody like Ronda who has crossed over. I mean, UFC movies doesn't need to be there every week. I think it does make it more special for her to come in occasionally. So I agree. Maybe these two parties have gotten enough out of each other for now. Walk away, maybe make Ronda an attraction. Now that's one way. Like I said, I have two minds of this. That's one way of looking at it. The other one is, I can't help but read this, right? And the Wrestling Observer newsletter, this is like a thing that big hardcore wrestling fans look forward to each week, right? And you would think the biggest, most hardcore fans would be subscribers to the Observer newsletter, which you should be if you're listening to the show. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, who's a big hardcore wrestling fan? Tony Khan. And I'm sure that he opened up his email box today, got the link, the Observer's ready, and he's reading it. And all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe he knew this, maybe he didn't, but you find out Ronda Rousey could be a free agent at WrestleMania. Now, hypothetically, because we're playing like fun games here, I mean, a one-off, a one-shot, something to legitimize the Bucks and Cody's promotion. I know she's been friendly with those guys in the past,
Yeah, no, it was something that did cross my mind of, okay, on the opportunity of Vince, maybe offering a crazy deal to extend her. And the only reason I could think was if he was in that mode that he might be with other people, which is, okay, we don't want them to be going elsewhere, namely AEW. Now, I'm not naive enough to think that Ronda Rousey is going to turn down, that there's no amount of money that could buy her to have her come over and do something with AEW, because that always is possible. Everything is possible. Everything has a price, as they say. Right. But at the same point in time, it's kind of like that thought of like, could AEW ever get John Cena or The Rock or whatever? It's kind of like, Ronda Rousey, well, it's all a matter of relationships. John Cena has such a relationship with Vince and the company, as does The Rock. Now, I know you could say, well, what about Chris Jericho? But Chris Jericho had already proven that he's kind of I don't want
I don't want to cut you off, but Goldberg is somebody that's definitely been in talks.
Been
talked
right,
about.
but Goldberg was never part of like the WWE family, right? I mean, he's not like, So I look at Ronda Rousey and I just think, she's had such a personal relationship, I know, with Triple H and Stephanie over the years, and so I don't know. It would be
She went to like indie shows, right? She went to PWG, like
yeah, right before she
right.
debuted. Yeah, I mean, she appeared. She was hanging out backstage at a show over in Cleveland, not too far from So, but that was all before she made her WWE wrestling debut.
Before there was an AEW, when it was a glimmer in the eye of Ric Flair one night, right?
Right. But she wasn't performing. She wasn't competing against WWE. She was, a lot of times she was there supporting Shayna Baszler or
true
people she knew. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not naive enough to think that she could not be bought, but at the same point in time, I don't know if she knows that she always has a home at WWE. Even if she disappears to go start a family and they continue to merchandise her and sell her shirts and stuff like that, and she's getting royalty cut. I don't know if she's going to want to sever that tie with WWE by going to take some big money offer for AEW. I mean, it's not like she needs the money. I know you can always have more money, but I don't know if she would sever that business tie. Is my point.
I'm just saying, I know she loves, like, if you're going to PWG shows, you're a Bucks fan, right? Like, I know that she's got to love these guys. There's only 2 shows on the books right now for AEW. Both of them are after WrestleMania. Way to establish their women's division, right?
Believe me. Today on my podcast, I talked to Britt Baker, obviously, who's the first woman signed to AEW, and I asked her, who are some women that you like to see them sign? And she goes through and she lists some people. Ronda Rousey, not one of them. I'm sure that she would happily welcome a match with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it would do a lot to boost that women's division in AEW, but I just don't realistically see it right now. I just don't see her severing the WWE business tie.
Had to bring it up. Had to address it, right?
It's a valid point. It's a very valid point. The fact that Tony Khan has as much money as he does, and he's going to fund and support his promotion correctly. And of course, that he's aware of the rumor and innuendo that we all. So no, it's a very valid conversation to have. But I'm just saying my opinion is I just don't see it.
Even if you're like a low end, like if you're a top indie draw name right now, you're getting offers, decent to good offers. Like if Ronda Rousey's a free agent, and I don't know, we're in wacky times right now. Got to ask yourself the question, So anyway, we'll move off Ronda here for a second. There was a little bit more coming out of the Observer. The Undertaker currently apparently not figured into any main matches for WrestleMania this year. Have you heard anything about or what we could be seeing? No Taker this year, some Taker. What's the read?
I don't have any insight. All I can say is I still think he's a very realistic option for a Hall of Fame headliner this year because they're in New York.
Yeah.
If you think about, and obviously there's the competition they're going to have to deal with that weekend. If you think about who they have left right now that's realistically headline worthy, obviously Cena's not going in right now. Vince is never going to let them put him in as long as he's alive. Really, you're only 2 big headliners at the moment, unless you decide to put the NWO in as a group or go that route. The only 2 big headline worthy names really are The Rock and The Undertaker.
I think you're onto something with Taker, because then if they put Taker in, and New York's a great setting for him, you can get the Taker entrance at WrestleMania, which is a large part, maybe the best part of Undertaker at this point is just
and I don't know about I can't speak for every fan. I can speak for myself, and I'm a very big Undertaker fan, and I he's always been one, and I've said this for years. He's always been the one guy that I said, man, and I go to the Hall of Fame usually every year, but I've always said that's the guy's speech that I can't miss because he's been so protected of his character and he doesn't do a lot of media. I was like, man, if he does decide to break character and kind of speak, if he lets Mark Calloway speak, that's we don't get that. So what an attraction to have the Undertaker standing on stage, probably inducted by Kane, and that's an attraction to get fans' attention. And I think same night as that MSG show, correct? That RH. So
it is, yes.
If you need a big attraction, you need a big, hey, who's somebody that people will pay and will drop whatever else they're doing to hear speak? The Rock or the Undertaker, 2 people you want to hear speak.
Yeah, I definitely think you're onto something. And, Undertaker making an appearance, they always do the Hall of Fame entrances, at the show. You could get Taker a part of that. And, who knows? Maybe you could even set something up. If that's
if he goes in the Hall of Fame, that doesn't mean that he can't have a match, because I think Shawn Michaels had a match the weekend that he went in, so it would actually be kind of fitting in some regards. So yeah, I mean they could announce this Monday that after the Rumble, the Raw after Rumble, they could announce Taker's in the Hall of Fame, have him show up on Raw somewhere here in February and March, just advertise the show to have him there, and then he could be interrupted by said wrestler, and that leads to whatever match. So, and I don't know who that wrestler would be,
I got it. RKO out of nowhere. He wants to avenge the loss from WrestleMania with his father.
I mean, once we get through Rumble, maybe we can have a better chance of guessing. I mean, I can, you could say Braun Strowman, you could say Drew McIntyre, you could say John Cena again if Cena's able to be there. So
yeah, well, I'll throw it out there. I wasn't going to wait to bring this up, but, PW Insider was the first to report that Abyss and Sonjay Dutt were leaving Impact for WWE. The Observer confirmed it this morning in their newsletter, said both are expected to work backstage in NXT, not perform. I reached out to Impact as soon as I heard it yesterday. We got a statement from Ed Nordholm confirming that these two were leaving. It says, we reached an amicable agreement with Sonjay and Abyss to allow them to pursue this opportunity. They have been tremendous contributors to Impact Wrestling, and we wish them every success. We are thrilled that Konnan and Tommy Dreamer have agreed to bring their 50-plus years of experience to our core creative team. So confirming their exits and the addition of Konnan and Tommy to the creative team, which we can get to in just a second. But Abyss, right? That was always that was the mythical rumored match that never happened, right? Like 10 years ago, Abyss could have gone to WWE and fought The Undertaker, and we would have never seen this lengthy career in Impact Wrestling. I don't know what truth there is to it. I don't really care. I do kind of dig it. I know they're older now, but what do you make of Abyss and Sonjay here joining WWE? And again, this report says they aren't wrestling, but I'm all for Abyss getting a run at WWE. Sonjay too.
Two good wrestling minds, so it's great that they're going to be able to contribute probably in that capacity. Putting matches together and just working with guys and girls for promos and such. I'll say this: what a moment it would be if it's 3, 2, 1, and we see Abyss as a surprise Rumble entrant.
Man, I wrote about it on Twitter yesterday, how I could see, they go to 30, our Truth's music plays, right? That he doesn't come out, you cut to the back, Truth's on the ground, you see Janice fall to the wayside, Abyss reaches over, grabs the number and heads to the ring, right? Even if you don't really know who Abyss is, the man's a monster, right? It's intimidating. It has an edge to it. That was my fun fantasy book of it. I don't know if you have a different idea.
I do. The opening 90 seconds of my podcast, I gave a booking scenario that I had not heard anybody else do, and it's been met with the reaction I was hoping, because I think it is kind of a mind blowing one. It does involve R-Truth. It does involve R-Truth being attacked and somebody else taking the number 30 spot. And I'll just say, please go listen to the opening 90 seconds of my podcast, and it makes a lot of sense.
God, teasing me here.
I got to tease. I'm gonna tease.
Well, this was cool. It was nice Impact, by the way, and Ed to give us a statement confirming the reports. We got it on the record. Both of these guys are very smart. It was also noted, I think, in the Observer when I was reading this morning. Of course, these two guys both very close with Jeremy Borash. This could be your NXT team now with these guys and JB helping Triple H. I'm all for it. It's fascinating to me that the Impact team from 10 years ago has largely just now been brought over to WWE. Impact, it's a whole new Impact is completely different now because everybody's gone. They're all at WWE.
Yeah, I mean, really, with Abyss, obviously Jeremy Borash has been with WWE now for some time. But I mean, Abyss really is the last of the old guard. I mean,
yeah,
right. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's gonna be a very different time. And Konnan and Tommy Dreamer are gonna be joining the creative team over at Impact with Don Callis. Konnan books for AAA, he books for everybody right now. Aero Lucha, MLW. So Conan's doing a lot right now. I like both of these guys. Konnan with LAX has really kind of been an Impact stalwart for a long time as well. Interesting group. I kind of dig it. I like when things change. It always gives you something different, something fresh,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know Konnan, so I can't speak to him. I do know Tommy, and so even with the departure of Sonjay and Abyss, Impact is getting I mean, they're not really missing a step at having Tommy Dreamer there. Tommy is a great mind, and Tommy's like the most liked guy in the wrestling business. which is amazing and hard to do. Which is why I think he has a key to every office. He can show up at WWE one day, shows up at TNA the next day, has his own House of Hardcore. I mean, he knows how to play the game and do it right. And I mean, just by the credentials you said, I'm sure Conan will offer a lot too. So yeah, I mean, Impact. This is good for Impact that if they're allowing these two guys to go pursue an opportunity at WWE, but Impact making sure they replace them with suitable people, creative minds, and it looks like they've done that.
Yeah, and I definitely think that this decision is going to result in Impact continuing to work with multiple promotions. We could even see an expansion of that, I would guess, because these two guys very much like to do the cross promotion, House of Hardcore, and all the stuff Conan's doing. All right, back to the last bit here from the Observer. Was plans for John Cena at WrestleMania this year are still up in the air. Now, I guess what was supposed to happen was Lars Sullivan was supposed to debut last week, attack John Cena, break his leg, split him in half like Doomsday to Superman, take him out of the Rumble. That did not happen because I guess, as it's been reported, Lars is dealing with some kind of anxiety issue. Triple H was pressed about it on the media call yesterday, said everything's fine. The Observer kind of said, there's an understanding of the situation. There's no heat on Lars. Whenever he's good, he's welcome to come back. But that's why they did the Cena injury, where he injured himself working out angle to get him out of the Rumble match, because the plan was always for him to not be in the Rumble match, just to build excitement for the Rumble by saying Cena was going to be a part of it and sell some tickets. What would you like to see John Cena do?
I mean, if they can get if Lars Sullivan can get right, I mean, that would still be interesting if they can. I mean, there's still plenty of time. They could still build to that if Lars is okay. I don't know what his status is and I don't know how much. I don't know if more has been made of what actually happened, or if it's what actually happened. We won't know for a while. But I'd like to see John Cena work somebody new like that, an up and comer that they're putting a lot of stock behind, or we're putting stock behind. If not Lars Sullivan, they kind of planted a little bit of what you could interpret as a seed with John Cena and Drew McIntyre, and the interaction they had when Cena was last on Raw. So that would be something that would be fitting, given given that we can kind of just see Drew McIntyre's status continues to rise. So if Drew does not win the Rumble and he's not in the world title match at WrestleMania, I think Drew McIntyre versus Cena would be certainly something I'd be worth seeing.
Yeah, I thought McIntyre Cena could be an option. Sure. I thought it was interesting also because you were on the Triple H media call as well yesterday, right?
Yeah. Yep.
He addressed his injury. He said he's cleared to start training again. So Hunter's back in the gym working to get, I would guess, into ring shape here. The plan, I guess, was always Batista, right? That was always the reported plan. We could still get that, but if we don't, I mean, just John Cena, Batista, just put them together, right? Like, that seems like an interesting idea.
Well, I still wonder about Batista, just because if he's doing, again, we talked about this a few weeks ago. If he's signed on to do another movie,
right?
It's that obviously is going to be a problem. So.
Yeah. Well, lots of stuff going on here into WrestleMania. A couple other things here. We talked about the Triple H call. Really just a couple things here before we get to some of our clips and segments and interviews today. JoJo, update on JoJo. PW Insider said that she's not been on the road with WWE the past several weeks due to personal reasons. There's no backstage heat on her. She is not listed for the Royal Rumble weekend. So for those of you that are interested in what's going on with JoJo, there's an update for you. Also, there was some speculation yesterday that arose on Reddit over a trademark infringement filing that a content creator got on a website that was filed by Pro Wrestling Tees and Creative Ventures. That is, Pro Wrestling Tees saw a graphic on this site that was theirs, and they filed it. Ryan Barkin is the president of Pro Wrestling Tees. A lot of people. So the image in question that the violation was for a CM Punk image being sold on this site, right? And the trademark infringement filing was on behalf of Pro Wrestling Tees, which is Ryan, and Creative Ventures, which is, I think part of AEW, if not the entity that owns AEW. So I went to Ryan, who's here in Chicago, and I asked him, what's going on? Does this tie CM Punk to AEW, which is, I guess, what everybody thought. He said it ties AEW and Punk together through me because I am responsible for both of their merchandise, and I searched the internet for bootlegs. They are not connected otherwise. So it was just a case of a bunch of entities winding up on the same piece of paper, is what it sounds like to me. If you want to believe that. No, I'm just kidding. Ryan's a good guy. He wouldn't lie to me.
Well, he wouldn't lie to you, but he also wouldn't want to be the one that lets the cat out of the bag if they did have some big surprise for everybody. So just bear that in mind. I don't think that's the case here. That's actually very good detective work by you.
Thank you. Well, and if people are hiding something, 9 times out of 10 they won't say anything. They will just completely fade you, and they'll just never respond to your questions, and then you're just left there wondering what's going on. But no, Brian was very quick to get back to me and make it clear that other than the fact that he controls the merchandise for both entities, there's no connection there. So there you go. And last but not least here, The Undertaker was at SHOT Show in Vegas yesterday. I'm guessing just walking around looking at guns, which is what The Undertaker does now. And do you want to say something? Do you like that? You're giggling and talking at the same time.
Yeah, because I saw a picture. Well, I think you're getting ready to talk about it. It was great. I love seeing a picture of him with an Impact Wrestling banner behind him. And then if you zoom in, you look, he has his name tag on and it says Mark. I don't know, it's so funny. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, Impact Wrestling Mark. That's what they call The Undertaker. Undertaker, I guess, was just there, right? Like looking at guns, being a part of SHOT Show, this big convention in Vegas for hunters. And he sees that there's an Impact Wrestling table there. And and it's so weird because I actually wound up interviewing both Taya and Eli yesterday. Now we're going to play the Taya interview today, and I'm going to play Eli either Tuesday or Wednesday next week on the show. So you'll get that one as well. But I asked them both about this, right? And you'll hear Taya talk about it in just a second. But it just kind of sounds like The Undertaker saw some wrestlers and was like, man, I'm a wrestler too. And they were like, okay. It does not sound like there was anything to this other than that.
Do you think, or I haven't heard these clips yet, do you think he knew who Eli and Taya were? Like, do you think he just said, well, they look like wrestlers? Do you think he was familiar with their work, or they just?
I'll let you listen to them. You guys can. I mean, it does not sound like look, like you say, the Impact Wrestling logo is behind him, right? Like you don't walk up to the Impact Wrestling table, be the Undertaker, not know what Impact Wrestling is.
Do you think did Eli and Taya go, you look familiar, Mark?
Eli's like Tya's very nice about it. Eli actually has a kind of funny story about it. His will play next week, but yeah, sorry. With that, what a great transition here. We are about to hear from Taya Valkyrie. After her, you're going to hear a clip of Scott Fishman talking to Ken Shamrock, followed by Wrestling Inc.'s Aki talking to Drew McIntyre, and after that, you'll hear views from the Turnbuckle Audio Edition. Me and Jesse Collins talking about NXT's localized, globalized strategy, and right after that, we'll be back here with me and Justin, closing down the show and giving our preview and predictions for the Royal Rumble. Thank you to all that great talent for coming on. And Justin, here we are at the end. Now, I like to do previews. We're not going to do the pay-per-view preview and prediction for TakeOver because it would take too long, but we're going to talk here about the Rumble. Real quick, and we can talk more about these as we go up the ladder. We'll start with the 2 kickoff show matches. Buddy Murphy, Tozawa, Atami, and Kalisto for the Cruiserweight title. Who's your pick?
Let's say Buddy.
Buddy, I'm going to go with Kalisto. I think Lucha House Party needs some gold, right?
I could buy that.
Okay, good. Discussion ended. Next we have the United States champion Rusev defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. Who goes over? Who wins?
Because it's on a kickoff show, I'd hope that I hope Rusev.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope Rusev.
Me too. I agree. Agreed. Discussion ended.
I could buy that.
Okay, good. Yes, wonderful. Next match. SmackDown Tag Team Championships on the line as the Bar faces off against Shane McMahon and The Miz. Ooh, what happens here? Who goes over?
I gotta think Shane and Miz, right? Like that, it would just be odd if they didn't win, right? I mean, so I'm gonna go Shane and Miz, but like we've discussed at length, I have no idea what this is, and that's a good thing, I guess. I have no idea what they're trying to get out of this.
I kind of think the Bar is going to retain, and Shane and Miz will be in the Rumble later, and we'll see a moment from them, and this will begin some kind of disillusion. That's where my brain's at. So,
okay,
all right. Discussion ended. Next match.
Next.
Ronda Rousey defending the WWE Raw Women's title against Sasha Banks.
Ronda Rousey all day long.
I agree. What's up with the Sasha 4 Horsewomen tease, though? It doesn't sound like we'll get to it if all the reports are true, right?
I don't know. I will say I even though there was the drop in the viewership on Raw, from first to third. I did like the fact they tried to they actually had some heat and tried to build some animosity between the two, at least to give this match a little bit of fire.
I had completely forgotten this. I heard that Sasha was Ronda's opponent until I reread it. And I was like, oh, that's right. This is happening. So yes, I also picked Ronda. Discussion ended. Next match. All right, Daniel Bryan defending the WWE Championship against AJ Styles. Who you got?
Daniel Bryan. I think he's just too hot. I don't see them pulling the title back off him. I think he's just AJ's had a great run. I don't see AJ needing the title right now. While yes, you can make the argument of AJ's contract is supposedly coming up here in a few months, but I think Daniel Bryan he's just on fire right now.
Yeah, I agree. Daniel Bryan as well. Discussion ended. All right, next match. Asuka defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Becky Lynch, the last kicker.
Asuka,
you're going Asuka because what? You think Becky will wind up in the Rumble?
I have a theory that we will see Becky. Asuka's going to win somehow, or she's going to hold on to the title somehow. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
But as I outlined, I have a feeling that we could see Becky Lynch in a Rumble, but I won't say which Rumble.
Oh, maybe the man's Rumble is what you're saying. All right, interesting. Then we have Brock Lesnar defending the Universal Championship against Finn Balor. Does Finn have a shot here, or is it Brock all the way?
Finn has a shot just because with what we know UFC and Brock is there's going to be stuff this year, and Brock really only got the title back by default from WWE when Roman Reigns got left for illness and vacated the title. So Finn certainly has a shot. But I'm not expecting him to win. Again, if I'm making my Wrestle Rumble prediction, I'm predicting Brock Lesnar.
I agree. So I agree. Brock Lesnar as well. Finn looked a lot better on Raw than I expected, especially the way he kept Brock and Braun at bay for like the first 20 minutes of Raw. I thought that was very good booking of Finn Balor.
Yeah, I mean Finn got Brock to do more bumping on a Monday Night Raw than we've seen in 15 years from Brock. So that's pretty.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like it was two cats and a mouse. Is what we saw to start Raw this past week. Let's get to the Women's Rumble. Who's your pick here to come out on top?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. I have to believe Charlotte as well. I have to believe, and I'm actually going to go back and say I think Becky beats Asuka. I know you're going to say Asuka beat Becky. I'll disagree with you on that one because I don't think they're going to think too. I don't know how complicated they're going to make this. I think Becky is champion. Charlotte wins the Rumble. Ronda's got the title. There's a way to blend those three without having to get too creative and maybe even protect Asuka and build another woman as the Rumble champion, as the Rumble winner along the way. Spread it around a little bit. These three don't have to do everything, And lastly here, the Men's Rumble. Who you pick?
Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I knew that's what you were teasing earlier. That's insanity. You think Becky Lynch is going to win the Rumble, the Men's Rumble?
Think about this. If we're all expecting something to happen with R-Truth. I don't think any of us is expecting R-Truth to actually make it to the ring and be in the Rumble. So Becky Lynch ends up taking his spot. She enters. You got to be creative with who she eliminates and how she wins it. But she wins one Rumble. Charlotte wins the other one. Now they both want Ronda Rousey. There's your triple threat. And if this is going to be the first time that the women are ever going to main event a WrestleMania, have it happen because of a bold booking, unprecedented, historic statement and moment at the Royal Rumble where both Charlotte and Ronda win Rumbles. I mean, the man, if there's the wins Rumble, I mean, this would go right in line with the women empowerment of what they're doing. That two women are the ones who walk out of the two Rumble winners. They've had women in the Rumble before, so that's not a stretch. The only stretch, or not even a stretch, but the only obstacle is you just got to figure out, okay, it's probably so you got to figure out if it comes down to Becky and then pick two others. It's almost like the two others are scrapping with each other and she just dumps both of them. You have to figure out a good creative way to make sure that the elimination happens, it's believable, and everybody's protected.
I want to live in your WWE universe, Justin. You know what? I want to believe. I like that idea. I don't know. I think that Braun's going to win. I think that the way they set up Braun and Brock on Monday, Braun's cleared. Everybody was talking about Seth. Seth didn't come across to me like the Rumble winner on Raw. Braun Strowman came across like the Rumble winner to me on Raw. The next logical big step for Brock Lesnar following Finn Balor, Yeah.
I know what I'm suggesting is, at least right now, would seem like a long shot, but if the Becky theory is not if she doesn't enter in the Men's Rumble, then I think you're looking at Braun, Seth, and Drew are your three most high probability picks,
Mm-hmm.
unless they really went off left field. And Triple H said to us on the call, you'll know it when you see it with Lars Sullivan. Unless they go out of nowhere and they have somebody brand new, like an EC3 or Lars Sullivan, somebody make a statement that way. But I think in terms of high probability, if you're talking about a man winning the men's rumble, Braun, Seth, and Drew are your top three. But I'm riding the Becky pick. I'm riding until it doesn't happen.
I want to live in your. I like when people get creative and think outside the box, right? Like I'm being too literal because I'm like, oh, Braun Strowman makes sense. Doesn't need to make sense. Sometimes it can just be fun. So I like it. I hope you're right, but I still pick Braun, not Becky.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. Let's wrap up the show here. Discussion over. Done.
Next.
We have talked. Yesterday we started our fun.com Twitter contests. So the first contest is going to wrap here in about 20 minutes. We're going to randomly pick the winner. We asked you guys to follow us, retweet this post, and tell us who you thought is going to win the men's rumble. It doesn't matter if your pick is right or not. We just wanted you to chime into the conversation. So one of you guys that or ladies that submitted yesterday and played our contest is going to win a $100 gift code to fun.com. Go buy whatever you want. $100 free money, fun.com. Now we're going to do it again here. As soon as I pick the winner for the last one, I'll put the new contest up. It's the same rules, only this time we want you to pick who's going to win the women's rumble. So that's it. Play the contest tomorrow, noon Central. I will once again pick a contest winner. You get $100 free and clear. Go spend it on fun.com stuff. Get some socks, whatever you want, wacky hats. Also, remember, of course, Sunday, if you're in Chicago, 420 West Diversey, Duffy's Tavern and Grill. Come drink with me. Watch the Rumble. We'll be playing some games. Tune into the Two Face podcast tomorrow. They got a big announcement for something fun they're doing in the Houston area. I'm stoked on this. I'm so happy they put this together. So you're going to love it. Check that tomorrow. Also, right after TakeOver and the Royal Rumble this weekend, we will have live post shows here on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube channel with Matt, Glenn, and Raj. Lots to chime in and talk about. It's going to be a very busy weekend. Justin, what do you want to plug, promote, put over here to wrap up the show?
My weekly podcast, Wrestling Reality, presented by Ticket King, where you can save 15% on tickets if you use the code LaBarFan. But check that podcast out. I talk more about my theory here with Becky in the Royal Rumble. I also have a great line. I have Dr. Britt Baker. We talk about her. I ask her about like her AEW contract and kind of get into stuff with her. And I have a whole bunch of fun guests that come on and kind of rapid fire give their Rumble picks. Ticket Drew, my friend from Ticket King, Ticket Drew. Issa the Demon Diva, Kay Fabulous, Juice Springsteen, Josh Eisenberg, my friend Rob Rossi, who writes for The Athletic in Pittsburgh, but is a hardcore wrestling fan. So just a ton of fun for a 50-minute podcast, Wrestling Reality. Get it wherever you can get it, any podcast.
Get it where you can get it. What a great tagline that is. I love it. Man, it's like a Jeff Foxworthy joke right there. Get it where you can get it, right?
Get it where you can get it.
Things that rednecks might say.
My uncle had the mailbox and it's spelled M-A-L-E.
I love that our week has bookended with Jeff Foxworthy comments. That makes me very happy. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I am at Wink Rebel over on Twitter. He's at Justin LaBar. I'll be back Tuesday, noon Eastern, right here. And remember,
if you go to work without a shirt, and so does your wife.
If you own more cars that don't run than do, you might be a redneck.
If the most common phrase heard in your house is somebody go jiggle a handle.
I'm out. I need to go release it. I need to re-listen to Foxworth this weekend. Thank you all for tuning in. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.